Welcome back to another Double Dark video. This one might be a little longer. I'm kind of feeling like talking a lot today. Maybe it's the replay itself. Maybe it's the spring weather. But yeah, sit back and enjoy a maybe more in-depth review than past videos. Hope you enjoy. This is Dark Rainbow and Dark Pink. So reminder, that means each of these cards is critical. There's only one Rainbow 4, only one Rainbow or Pink 3, Pink 4. So it's very hard. Got to get creative. Let's get into it. So right off the bat, this Pink 1 needs to get gotten, which is a little awkward because I have both copies of Yellow 1. But you do what you got to do. There's no easy way to like fake this out. So, I mean, this is a good clue. It just means we have to mark this as needing a fix eventually. I see both copies of Yellow 2, so there's no reason to like rock the boat and risk a potential potentially like bombing Pink 5 here to chop move this card. There's a little benefit to it if I don't see Yellow 2, but nah, I'll just go for it. Play the focus one. Keep things straightforward. All right, Piper clues 1's here, which was exciting to me because that means none of these are red. So it feels so good to have like multiple ones play out in a double dark game. It feels like you actually have a chance at least. Okay, Kimby defers. From my perspective, of Kimby's perspective, this could be Yellow 1. So her cluing this 2 doesn't really signal anything that weird. I mean, it's just an important card to get, right? Like, she can't exactly just play this, have me play this. Someone has to clue it, so she just goes ahead and saves it. Nice and simple. All right, there's 1. Okay, right, so now, like I mentioned, this 1 is going to cause a problem, or at least if we don't fix it. So in like very simple and low efficiency games, sometimes you might just want to do something really simple, like clue it Yellow. Literally just clue it Yellow, and then I'll know it's trash. It's cool. But Piper proceeds to do a very clever line to get some cards efficiently played, include, but also tell me this is trash. He starts with a color ejection. So by cluing blue here, focus is here. Kimby has to eject. And what's nice is now I know this is not a blue 1, right? Negative information on blue, but it could still be a pink card, right? Maybe it's, if no one fixed it, I would go on to play this as Pink 2, actually, strangely. So it's not fixed yet. Okay, well, we'll get back to that in a second. Now it's Kimby's turn. She's being ejected. So, but let's look deeper. If we look at her empathy, she knows the card on her slot 3, which she's supposed to blind play right now. She already knows it's not a 1, so that can't be blue 1 or anything. She also knows it can't be pink because it was not touched by the 1 clue. So therefore it cannot be Pink 2 either. So actually, there's only one card that she could be blind playing here, and it's exactly Yellow 2. So you don't get to see this every day, but Kimby gets to discard her ejected card as a sarcastic discard. What is this, like a certain ejection? I don't know, but she discards this, telling Piper that this is actually the Yellow 2. Clever move by Kimby. All right, I keep on tossing my 1s out, and now Piper finishes the second part of his clever plan. He clues this 5. So again, I mean, that's just a great clue on its own, right? This 5 needs to be saved. But let's look back at the empathy now. Now I know that this card, this 1, here, after the 5 clue, it can't be pink. And because of the ejection clue, it's not blue. So actually, the red 1 plays, and now I know this is a duplicate. It could be red, it could be green, could be the third yellow. Doesn't matter. I don't care. All I know, whatever it is, I can discard it. So, yeah, clever early game, I'd say. All right, we finish off playing our cards. Notice it is still early game, so no one's discarded anything but known trash yet. That said, okay, now I think things start getting interesting. Kimby plays, which means I do technically have what we call permission to discard, right? Like, and obviously in Double Dark, you could say, well, you always have permission to discard. It's a hard variant. But I mean, that doesn't mean you should always feel comfortable discarding, right? I think this, from my perspective, this could still be like blue 3. Maybe this is blue 4 or multi 3, whatever. This could be blue 3, red 3. I don't know, something useful, right? Probably not anything playable. Probably not anything critical. But that doesn't mean I should just be, tossing it just because I can. I see a bunch of exciting cards down here too. Most pressing, of course, are both their chop cards being useful. So I go for a clever way to save this green 3 while also getting this card. So I clue 1s to Piper. Now this is called a, oh god, I think the specific name, the technical term is very long. It's like the reverse unnecessary trash finesse that looks like a gentleman's discard. Kind of silly name, but here's the theory. The theory is this card is almost certainly stale. Like, we both were just like discarding cards. I discarded this card, didn't show this any interest, but now suddenly he draws this card. So I think there's a world in which I'm cluing this because obviously it's blue 1. But actually, sure, I think it could literally be blue 1. But here's the thing. If it were blue 1, Piper would be incentivized anyway. Because he sees a blue 1 here, he's incentivized to just discard this card and let Kimby play this, right? And now we'd help protect her hand. So we agree, basically, in a situation in which Bob, Piper in this case, could see that it could be, it would work perfectly well as a gentleman's discard. We actually agree that you should just fully trust that you should discard it, right? Even though it logically could be a blue 1, there's really no upside to playing it as one. And what's cool is, as soon as that's true, then it's basically a weakly dominant strategy to always clue 1 here, regardless of what this 1 is. So therefore, he should never play it, because I might just be cluing a trash 1 to get this 1. I hope that makes some sort of sense, but basically, if you think that's all convoluted, I agree. But because it's so convoluted, long story short is, whatever it is I'm trying to do, it's definitely to help protect this card. So you'll note, on turn 14, he chop moves this card. So, okay, let's continue. I already warned you this is going to be a longer video, so, okay. He discards, sure enough, Kimby plays. And now, I mean, I guess it's good we keep drawing good cards, but the situation is getting trickier now. Okay, so now I'm in a predicament here. We have a critical on chop. Piper has a safe discard, but the only playable on the board, the only line of playables is green 2, 3, 4, 5. But this green 4 is incredibly awkwardly situated. I can't focus it with green. Can't focus it with 4. I could maybe bluff this green 2, but then we might lose something else. But let's think about the trade-offs. Just for fun, I can't imagine a convoluted way to ensure that we get green 4 and green 3 played. See if you can spot a weird line. A hint, it requires some fixing. Yeah, so I'll show you this. One idea I could do is green here. Okay, so this is well, Piper would assume it's a bluff, right? It's a critical 4 bluff. Remember, we agreed that even if a 4 is more than 1 away from playable, if it's also critical, we all agree like it's just a really clever thing to be able to, a valuable thing to be able to bluff it. Okay, so Piper will play this card out, but then it can't just be a bluff because Piper has to be very alarmed now and has to keep digging because if he plays green 2 and all Kimby knows about this card is that it's green, well then we're going to have a problem unless he has to keep digging for something else, right? I guess he's not sure yet. Actually, he knows he doesn't have multi 2, so he would just know that somewhere in this hand, presumably here, is green 3. Okay? So now Kimby would know what's up, right? She would mark this as green 4, importantly, but she would assume that I'm just going to fix with 3, right? So that's fine. I don't see anything else for Kimby to do. Let's say she's going to discard. Now it's my turn. Sure enough, I mean, this is about to bomb as green 3, so I have to give a fix. So I fix Piper. I'll ignore this for a second. Just pretend this is, I don't know, a random card. I fix Piper. But now, this still isn't enough. Piper now knows, okay, cool, this is green 3. But if he plays it immediately, guess what? I mean, Kimby still thinks this is green 4, so she'll bomb this. So, this is not great. Now Piper has to do something awkward to fix this. Let's even be charitable. Let's say we're all on the super same page. Again, let's pretend this is whatever, random, doesn't matter. Let's say we allow Piper to give this fix. Now Kimby's like, okay, cool, this is an out of order thing. This is actually green 4. Piper knows this is green 3. Cool. I'll just discard. And now, very technically, right, we do get the 3 and the 4 played. But at what cost? If you'll notice the discard, this line, we got 2 cards played, 2 cards saved, but for 3 clues. And we also, and here's the kicker, I think, and why I chose not to do this. We also, in the process, we lost red 3 and red 4. So even though, well, all just to save this green 4. So, okay, let's go back. I sort of thought about that line, and I thought, you know what? I just don't think it's worth it. First of all, that's expending 3 clues. It's forcing the team into using 3 clues. That's a lot. That's like the majority of our clue tokens. And our efficiency is not that great, right? What are we sitting at? 1.6. So basically, I decided, let's take a risk. Let's get one big valuable clue. Oh, I'm in a hypo. One valuable clue, red. So now let's see what happens. This is still a color bluff, right? So Piper plays, but now no fixes are required. Everyone just realizes what happened. I think this could now be multi 3, multi 4. Yep, she marks it as 3 or 4. Cool. And now what I was hoping would happen in a magical world where, let's say, Piper draws random crap. It is still early game, right? So maybe Kimby would also not discard yet and help get tempo on this card. So that was the plan. That was the dream. So Kimby would clue 3, I'd clue 4, and then we'd be like in really, really good shape. So the upside is pretty huge, right? We get a 4 for 1 here, and hopefully, potentially, tempo on the whole green suit. But this is amongst the worst draws possible. But it's a little interesting why. So you might think, well, why can't Kimby still just clue 3s? That seems like a pretty cool clue. But remember, this card has already been chop moved. So this 3 clue here would focus Piper's pink 2. Now, maybe that's not very weird, but I think I totally see why Kimby would find it very dangerous to do that. Reason is, It's kind of a common tactic in pink to use deceit in what rank you clue a pink card in order to get something more out of it. So here, yeah, let's imagine now it's my turn. I have to think, well, why on earth is she choosing 3 here instead of simply 2, right? So there is a convention called I forget exactly what it's called, but it's like a fake pink finesse. So let's say you clue this as a 3. Now let's imagine this is a blue 2. Now suddenly this is great because now I'm getting prompted for the 2. And of course Piper will just think, oh great, this is blue 3. He'll play it. And lo and behold, it's actually pink 2. Now you can see that that is like strictly superior, well, minus any confusion. That is a much more powerful play than just cluing the 2. Because in this line, even if this is blue 2, it still hasn't been prompted. I'll just discard. Stuff gets awkward. So all that is to say, because we get this pink 2 drawn, I can totally respect why Kimby actually does not want to clue it. One, because it might lead to confusion. I'll be honest, I'm not actually sure if I'd play. I don't think I would play in response to this, because I see the value of this too, and because this could be just yellow 3. I'm genuinely not sure actually, but the fact that it's like sort of undefined and unclear is, I think, great reason for Kimby to be spooked to do it. You never want to do like a confusing, risky clue if it doesn't offer like a very clear payout, right? So I totally get why she wouldn't want to clue it like that. And now obviously she doesn't want to just clue it too, right? Because imagine what if she has pink 3, right? Or any other bluff target. She'd much rather leave this available for me. So all in all, this is all to say, goodbye green 4. Sadly, it didn't work out that we would get the whole green suit. But even with that, I mean, let's look back, right? Before this whole line, we were at, what did I say, 1.6 efficiency? And now we're up to 2.0. So honestly, I think it's a fine trade-off in a double dark to lose 1 playable card, to protect 2 almost playables, and to just avoid confusion. So here I think I do the finesse, but it's kind of interesting. I have 2 options. I could clue pink. Either way this plays, right? Actually, wait. I take this all back. Oh, I'm glad I brought this up because I take this all back. Yes, if I were to clue pink here, that would not be weird at all, right? Kimby is not loaded. Someone has to save this card anyway. So actually, yeah, duh. Pink would not be a finesse. Pink would just be a save. So yes, hooray! I did not make a mistake. 3, I think, is then basically necessary. Cool. So by cluing 3, that is not a save, right? Because we expect a save clue to be given with pink. 3 is like a rank saying, "Oi, this is playable." So Piper does have to respond. Okay. Glad I figured that out. Kimmy can play. So far, there's been sort of a pattern now that Kimby's sort of been letting me get this card, or showing no interest in this. But so maybe I'm supposed to give a clue, is what I'm getting at. Looking back, yeah, I honestly am a little surprised Kimby didn't give this clue. Yeah, by giving this, then this finesses this. So anyway, all in all, I think this turn might be a little surprising to folks about what I do. So yeah, I think I like soft peg this as maybe not blue 3, but it also seems a little absurd to assume it's exactly blue 2. Like there are many reasons, as we've talked about, plenty of reasons for Kimby not to want to like randomly clue blue here or something, or two. That just seems very awkward. So nothing's really promised, but here's the thing. We are at 2.13 efficiency. I feel like some people have sort of a wrong assumption about Double Dark and Clue Starve games, where it just means you have to be milling through, chucking all your cards, looking for playables. But that is super not the case. I'd say the reason why you have to try to be so efficient is so you can slow down at some point, right? The thing about Double Darks, not only do you need high efficiency, but you also have incredibly low pace. It means you actually cannot discard very much. All that to say is, once you have accumulated good efficiency, you can see actually what this actually means on the right. This is tracking our future required efficiency. We could theoretically win this game if every single clue given from here on out was exactly a 1-for-1. So if we can just get one clue, one card played, it is maybe not likely, but theoretically possible to win the game. So, I mean, that's great, right? That is much easier than the original 1.43. So we've worked hard to get that. And now the question is, how can we use that? And this is a very long-winded way of saying that I chose to give a very simple, very straightforward 1-for-1. This is me just slowing down the game to try to get tempo on stuff. So he can play. Kimby can now clue the 1. Again, notice another 1-for-1. We're slowing down, but that's nice. We can afford to do that. All right. Let's see. What does Kimby know? Right. So this is a little awkward. We both now think. I suspect we both have to trust that we might have multi-3. So let's see. Yep, Kimby just discards. Nice. And now, yeah, oof. Suddenly, after just 2 discards, notice the pace has gone yellow. We're suddenly approaching the endgame. Very sudden turn, right? But this was a very, very exciting draw. Now I just have to find the way to most efficiently get both these cards. There's also something else exciting going on here. Even here, let's see, if you check what Piper knows about his cards. Right, yes, I remember now. Part of why I chose to clue 3 here, notice Piper's empathy on his slot 2 and slot 3. He actually now knows they're not 1s, not 2s, not 3s. They literally have to be exciting, useful cards, 4s and 5s. And furthermore, after Kimby clues blue, look at that. He actually knows that it's some mix of yellow 4, green 4, yellow 5, green 5. And I remember identifying this as well. I guess from my perspective, it could be red 5 as well. But at high level play, I think Samuel would call this like thinking about superpositions or something. At this point, when the options start getting so limited, I think it's pretty reasonable to start kind of thinking about what your teammate is working out. So from Piper's perspective, for his gameplay, I would argue this actually becomes, by this point, a very important sort of sub-game that he has to play. He should be working very hard, and he's very, very good at this, to try to crunch out and determine what these cards are. And because sometimes you can rule out certain options. Okay, I promise I am foreshadowing by explaining this. Okay, so let's jump back. It's my turn. I need to get these cards. The best way I see it is to do some sort of ignition. So here's what I do. I clue trash. Fair enough, you could argue that this is just a chop move, a trash chop move. But it's kind of funny, right? On one hand, I feel like we have an unspoken, well, because speaking would be cheating, but an unspoken sort of assumption here that these are basically chop moved anyway, right? I think at this point in the game, he can comfortably self-chop move. Maybe not quite. I guess there is a world in which they're duplicate yellow 4s. But okay, fine. It could be yellow 4s. But even if they are yellow 4s, if they're both yellow 4s, it would be absurd for me to chop move them. So Piper can pretty safely trust that that's not what I'm going for. In fact, I'm cluing random trash for some other reason. And I think it's pretty clear what it is, right? I mean, he sees this here, which would be an easy ignitable clue. He even has known trash, so like this whole line is absurd. Because why on earth wouldn't I just clue 4 here? Or, I mean, even more reasonable would probably just be to discard, right? And let Piper get it. But all in all, that is to say, Piper trusts that I'm trying to send a more a more useful message to the team. And he trusts that this is actually indeed a double ignition, which is exactly what happens. Okay, once again, we've hit a dense part of the game. There's a lot going on here. Kimby's hand is all important. And if you check the empathy, right, once again, because of the annoying fact of rainbow-ness, she doesn't know what this card is. It could still be multi-3, unless I have multi-3, right? But, bah. So, one potential clue I could give is 4. And what would that do? Well, it would obviously bluff Piper. He would have to play this card. And now because, well, wouldn't this just look like yellow 4 though? Answer is yes, it would. So now this could play. And basically this would then promise that Piper has to keep digging for yellow 4. But here's the downside of that. That might look pretty promising, right? Like that seems like a really good idea. The downside is, let's just pretend for a second. Let's say I discard. Yeah, this plays. But now there's a big issue. Now Kimby's hand is back to being locked, right? There's no way to get tempo on these cards. And that really sucks. We're at pace 1. If multi-2 doesn't show up like immediately, which isn't likely, right? We still have 11 cards in the deck. There's a lot of cards left to play. Kimby might, well, I don't know. We might have to spend another clue just sorting this out, and it gets a little awkward. So, because of that, I decided to go with blue here. It's kind of interesting, right? On one hand, it does not get this card. It does not get tempo on this card. On the bright side, it promises this as now being the 3. And maybe even this as the 4 if I have red 5. So, okay. In either case, this gets played. And now, notice, right? Kimby can right away play this card. Nice. And yeah, I mean, this hasn't been clued yet, but, well, this is either a trash 3 or it's exactly pink 5 anyway, so I have no doubt that as soon as we give any rank clue or she sees the other 3s or whatever, this is going to play anyway, so I'd much rather get tempo on the red cards. And the other part of it is, like we talked about, right? These are almost literally known already. So I'd rather give a clear clue here and see if these will play eventually anyway. Because, no doubt they will play eventually. All right, so I finally discard. I'm starting to get spooked. If you see your teammates are so loaded up with cards, you should probably try to catch up, as long as you have pace to afford to do it. So I discard, hoping to draw, I don't know, anything else useful. A yellow 5, green 4, blue 3 we're still waiting on, right? And I don't particularly want to touch this because, I don't know, I want to, kind of what Kimby was doing earlier. I want to put the ball in Piper's court to see how he wants to deal with this card. Well, Piper does something I wasn't quite expecting, on this turn at least. He blind plays this card, which is just lovely. I love this. I actually posted this in our Discord as a puzzle. How on earth could he know that this is a 4? It turns out there is some pretty sweet logic for why he can determine this is not a 5. Well, yeah, let's go through it. Let's go through it. Because obviously, I mean, double dark or not, even if this is like, what, 90% to be a 4, this is not, especially knowing Piper, never would he just like randomly play and hope that it's not a 5. This was hardcore determined and really impressive stuff. So let's actually take a look at how he knows this. So part 1, truth number 1, I'd say, goes back to this turn, this double ignition clue. Well, let's make a note. When this is discarded, you can see there's evidence here. He writes a note. Just want to mention, we are in primo self-color bluff territory right now. Okay, so this is him saying, well, now it's Piano Bluke's turn, and he's saying, okay, wow, it would be amazing if this was yellow 5. Imagine this was yellow 5. I could clue yellow. Okay, so thought. This obviously is not playable. This would therefore get a bluff. Okay, now if this was yellow 5, this would not just be a normal single bluff. Indeed, this would be a double bluff, right? Both these cards would be played. This would be identified as the yellow 5. Easy stuff. But that's only part of the story. Question is, could it still be green 5? That's the only other option, right? Well, if it's not yellow 5 or green 5, therefore it must be yellow 4 or green 4. So let's see if we can rule that out. Comes back to this turn now. Now maybe this, let's just pretend, for example, this is green 5. Like we said, he's been able to rule out yellow 5 from being in his hand at all, because I did not do the bluff. So let's say this is, take your pick. It doesn't matter which one it is. Let's say yellow 4. And again, it doesn't matter what this is. Let's just pretend it's something crappy. Now, there's something else I could do on this turn 35. If he had a 5 here, I could clue 5 here. Now, this would be a very early save. This would be identified as a 4. Theoretically, though, it's just a chop move. So this chop move is actually a signal. This is called an unnecessary chop move on a playable card. Oh, actually, yeah, it just got added to the doc as a new term. It's called a playful ignition. So this would play because Piper can see that this is going to play. Now, that might be a little absurd sounding if you've never seen or done reverse playful ignitions before. But at least between the three of us, we do it all the time. And so therefore, all is to say that Piper can now rule out the 5-4 combo. So if he can rule out 5-4 here, and he can rule out the yellow 5 being in either of these places, he therefore knows that this therefore cannot be a 5, and therefore he can play it. Beautiful play. I love that. He can safely play it because he sees since I have red 5, he knows that Kimby is going to play this as red 4. Beautiful. Which now means that I now know this is playable, right? Piper marked it as a prio. Interesting. Oh, duh. Okay, right. Kimby does play this as a prio because, like I said before, as long as we trust Good Touch, which we should, this is actually known to not be a 3. This is known as pink 5. So Kimby, indeed, yeah, she plays this to let me play that. but I have other stuff to do. This is a weird one. At this point, I'm still convinced this is multi-3. I mean, like, yeah, we covered it earlier, right? Like, I think I did rule out it's very unlikely to be blue 3 because of this turn here, right? Kimby chose not to clue 3. And now looking back in the replay, by this point, I see that these were the cards in my hand, and there's nothing blocking 3 from being given here. So that's just why I was like pretty sure that this is not blue 3, which is why later on in this turn, I felt pretty comfortable pulling this out. Okay, so we were talking about playful ignitions. Guess what? This is another playful ignition. This is a trash chop move on a playable card. Except why on earth would I do this when I could just clue it 2? And it's igniting Piper. It's telling Piper to play this card. And now Kimby knows to play this card. Okay, but interestingly, Kimby defers. Kimby plays her 5. Looking back, I'm trying to think of why that might have been. I guess she wants the clue back. I guess, what else could this be? It could be green 4, could be blue 4, could be yellow 5. I don't know, not sure. I guess she valued getting the clue back and seeing what I would do. I do go ahead and trust it. I mean, this is going to play as the 2. Even though this usually would wrong prompt this as the 4, it's just going to work. It's all good. Oh, another cool fact. You can see he has a note. At least one of these is green. And wow, most certainly a 5 now. Pretty cool read. This comes back to the 3 clue here. He went back in the replay, surely. Went back to this turn and figured, okay, now hold on. Let's say these were actually dupe yellow 4s. In a world where these are dupe 4s, it turns out, yeah, I would include green here. Reason is, at that point later, he already would know that these are not yellow 3s. So later in the game, this would then be promised to be a yellow card, a yellow 4 or 5, instead of green or yellow. I'll spare you the full the full hypothetical, but the point is, he again brilliantly marked this as, what did he say? Almost certainly green 5. So really, really well done by Piper. I love it. Okay, so he discards. This gets to play as the 2, prompting into this. I now know this is trash, so that was a little awkward, but whatever. Finally, the green 4 shows up, so now I can clue the green. And now I think we almost certainly win. But let's see, this is known, this is known, this is known, everything's known. We get to play. I play the 5, Piper clues. I clue 4, 5, 4, and then, as is usually the case in Double Darks, you just barely get to fling your last cards in the very last turn. GG. Woo! I am scared to look at the total runtime of this video, but I don't know. I think we covered a lot. I think there was a lot of really cool stuff happening. I really loved the blind plays here. I think there were some really interesting like trade-offs and risks in the middle game. This discard is still just hilarious. I've never seen that before exactly, but it's just really clever. So all in all, I think this is a pretty well-deserved and pretty fun game. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you stuck through it to the end. As always, let me know if you have any questions, thoughts. Yeah. Thanks for watching.